Welcome. It's been far too long, hasn't it? Over 6 months since my last video, and that really was not my intention. In all honesty, I did need a bit of a break because I was seeing stuff on social media which was making me a bit unhappy, so I realised I needed to step back, have a bit of a break, recalibrate and protect my love of photography, and it was exactly the right thing to do. But when I was feeling ready to get back into the game, so to speak, I ended up being quite unwell. And I have been for at least a couple of months now. I was losing weight, I didn't have any energy or motivation, I felt physically unwell, but anyway, I got the treatment that I needed. I'm on the mend. I still need to put some weight on and get some energy back, but I'm just feeling really positive and happy to be back out in the woods with Meg. It's just been far too long. But then I thought to myself, after this long hiatus, what kind of video do I come back with? Do I wait for some epic conditions and go out and photograph some of those characterful gnarly oak trees I love so much? Well, I could be waiting ages for that. You know, do I book a trip away to somewhere fantastic and increase my chances of making some wonderful images? But that I don't really have time for at the minute. And I just thought, actually, sod epic. Let's just do something real, something very typical that everyone can relate to. It's mid-afternoon, it's a cloudy sky, it's really quite bland to be honest, but this is very typical of the types of shoots that we all experience. And I love the challenge of trying to make good photographs in conditions like this. Now, this particular location, it's very small, it's complex, there's lots of different things going on. I've not photographed this area for probably 9 years, so this is all very new to me, to be honest. So I'm excited by that. And Meg is too. You might hear her splashing in the stream behind me. So I'm gonna have a bit of a bimble around for a couple of hours, see if I can make some images work under these conditions. And it's just always a practice in composition. If I can't make anything that works under this light, I can at least practice a concept to come back to. And these are always the building blocks to those images that really stand the test of time. So yes, but firstly, thank you ever so much for tuning in, because, you know, if you've tuned in after all this time, then I really appreciate your patience, so thank you. Now let's have a mooch and see what we can find. The weather forecast was teasing the idea of there being some thundery showers this afternoon. I think it's looking less and less likely now, to be honest, which is a bit of a shame, because I think to have the wet foliage here would really help to give it a lift. But I'm really quite happy with this composition. And actually, the sun was just trying to come through it. The cloud just thinned a little bit, became very bright white. In fact, it's too bright to look at it now. And it just helped to give a soft backlighting effect to this scene. So the anchor of the composition is these alder trees coming up here. We've got some lovely texture, grasses, ferns, alder leaves. We've then got a rowan tree, and then we've got this procession of alders and some lovely wiggly shapes further back. It progressively gets lighter through the scene, so we are getting a feeling of depth. But one of the key features, which again, I have never photographed in a woodland image before, is these grasses. Now, I can't say what particular species of grasses these are. They're obviously something which thrive in the more boggy land. But the way they offer this fantastic structure, just arching through the scene, and the way the light catches them, it's like stripes of light through the understory, and I absolutely love it. I would love to get more of it in over on the right-hand side where it's catching that light, but it just doesn't work compositionally. But just having it run through and sort of soften the base of these alders, I think it's wonderful. So to see that wet, I'm very keen to come down under different conditions and then see how this changes through the season. That's the most exciting bit about finding new locations, is just wondering what's going to happen as the seasons progress. So anyway, let's have a closer look at this as a composition. You can really appreciate now the structure that's offered from those blades of cool light from the grasses just arching through the scene. Such a fantastic feature. As I said, the composition is anchored on the left with those alders and giving us a little bit of breathing room to the left-hand side with another alder framing off the left-hand side in the distance. And that just offers a little bit of balance to the increasing amount of space and light over to the right-hand side. And that light in the distance and that procession of trees really helps to draw the eye from left to right through the image. And with the stream in the distance and the ash dieback back there too, that's really allowing that soft light to filter through, again encouraging the eye to travel through the scene. I filmed up a 4x3 at 24mm. I'm having to shoot very wide because it's very tight here, so I have to kind of get quite close to those trees in the foreground. But this really is fully embracing the green gown of summer. A lot of people are kind of a bit shy of green, and I can see why, because it can be quite difficult to get that separation and depth through the scene. But here I'm using the light, I'm using the recession of trees. But I just love that emergence of foliage, which helps to soften the base and give this fantastic textured understory. It's just life-affirming summertime. But for now, I think this is a good start. It's got a nice feel to it. So I'll finish off here and see if we can find another image. How nice does this look? Now, I've never even seen this, never mind photographed it in any of the woodlands that I've photographed in the past. And I love it, what a feature. And it's actually called meadow sweet. Probably so called because it does actually smell beautifully sweet. So it's fantastic when you're walking through and the wind just catches that aroma. Now this is an indication that this particular woodland has quite a boggy floor. Another indication of that is that one of the predominant species here is alder. The other predominant species is ash, but the ash here is suffering very, very badly from ash dieback, which is probably why this is growing in this particular area, because the canopy has just pretty much disappeared, allowing the light to get through and for this meadow sweet to grow. But yeah, what a feature. I will try and make an image which includes this purely for novelty factor alone. And you can see as well at the trunks of these ash trees, the brightness of that emerging from this soft foliage of meadowsweet set against the kind of progressively darker woodland backdrop. It creates a really nice contrast, and under flat light like this and without the atmospherics, looking for those differences in light really helps to add a little bit of depth to the image. So definitely worth at least trying something here. Gorgeous. Okay, maybe as I'm getting a little bit obsessed with these grasses now, but from this point of view, we're looking up the hillside and we've got those blades of cool light just arching up the hill, and they look really, really good. But also, they've got this fantastic coolness to them, which is giving this wonderful contrast to the punches of warmth coming from the hazel leaves, that understory tree on the right-hand side. I'm not entirely sure why the leaves are so warm at this point in the summer, but there you go, they are giving a lovely bit of colour separation there. They're at the base of what is the remains of an ash tree, and that warmth is actually echoed in the base of the alder tree up on the left-hand side as well. So we get that little bit of repetition there, giving a bit of balance. This is a slightly different approach to what I normally do, because I'm really going to bring in quite a big area of the grasses in the bottom left of the image, because I really want to shift the focus away from the trees and make it more about the colour and the texture of things. And it is framed with the trees, the darker trunks on both the left and the right, but it is more about the colour and the texture. And also, just in a very subtle way, through the grasses, we're just getting little hints of warmth from the leaves just poking through, and that's just creating a very subtle relationship with the warmth in the leaves, which are quite a clear feature of the image. And that warmth as well is contrasting with the coolness of the green further back. We get that darker green as we move into the denser woodland further back. Now the sky has gone really quite dark. Perhaps that means that there's rain on the way, because the temperature's dropped too. You never know, so I'm going to wait a little bit, see if the rain comes, or if not, I'd quite like to see that light to lift again, because I think what's really going to benefit these warmer leaves if we just get a little bit of more backlighting on them. It's another 4x3, so it sits very nicely with the other image. I think the two side by side will look quite good. Different approach, definitely another one to come back to, but as a composition, yeah, I quite like it. Right next to me here is a stream, and Meg is just backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. It's fantastic to see. I mean, I think obviously I'm excited to be back out in the woods making images and filming again, but I think she's just absolutely buzzing to be the woodland photographer's dog once again. So yeah, a good afternoon all round. That is me done for the afternoon. Short and sweet, just how I like it. Plenty of time to get home and have my tea. But thank you again if you've been waiting patiently for me to release a video. I really do appreciate you sticking around. Or if you're new here, then I've been talking about woodland photography on YouTube since 2016, so there's lots of videos for you to go back and check out. And if you're curious, I haven't been sat at home twiddling my thumbs for several months. I have been very busy with some projects. Although I haven't been able to get out with the camera much, there is something very exciting coming. So this is just a bit of a tease, to be honest, just to say that I don't plan on disappearing for another 6 months or so, but there are some very exciting things to come, which I can't wait to share. So please stay tuned for that. And would you believe it's been 2 years since the Woodland Sanctuary exhibition? That's crazy, but the book from the exhibition is now sold out, the printed book. But the electronic version is now available through my website at baxter.photos. So yes, please check that out if you're interested. Your support is always appreciated. And yeah, thanks again, and I'll see you soon.